Hello, my name is Lorraine Acker. I am the director of the Margaret Sloss Women's Center here at Iowa State University. I am also a doctoral candidate in the School of Education. Thank you, Dr. Jordan, for inviting me to talk to your class today about my research agenda. We're going to spend the next 15 minutes or so talking about relationship violence in college. My specific dissertation is going to focus on relationship violence among Black women in college. My research is centered around the idea of awareness, education, and advocacy as it relates to relationship violence in college. So when I say relationship violence, what I'm primarily talking about is sexual assault, rape, physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, stalking, and sexual assault. Within the human development and family studies literature, you may encounter the term interpersonal violence, dating violence, courtship violence, domestic violence, and all those terms really, it definitely encompasses what I'm discussing, what we'll be discussing here today in terms of relationship violence. So I tell students that, the violence that women encounter is so broad, and how, to just look at one really doesn't provide a true picture of the types and different ways women experience violence, right? Especially within the college environment. Within the higher education literature, there is a lot of focus right now on sexual assault and rape. And the reason for that is there is a growing statistic that continues to show that 1 in 5 women will be the victim of a sexual assault or rape within their college experience, as well as 1 in 16 men will have a sexual assault experience within their college experience as well. So there's a lot of attention right now on this, on just focusing on sexual assault and rape. But within my study, I'm just interested in in exploring, the variety of ways in which which Black women experience violence within the college environment. As a director of the Women's Center, my job primarily is to educate the campus population, not just on sexual assault and rape, but on the various ways that students can experience violence, or understand what relationship violence is. So it's not just violence that are happening within intimate relationship, within dating relationships, right? So, relationship violence can happen within same-sex relationships, within, peer relationships, within non-dating relationships. So, and understanding, when that occurs, what the resources are. My good job is to make sure that students are aware that the campus do have resources to address those needs. So in going back a little bit and talking about my research area, I'm primarily looking at 3 specific questions, right? So again, my topic is relationship violence among Black women in college. So again, why Black women? One of the things that I found in my research is that there's not a huge amount of literature written about Black college women as it relates to relationship violence, right? So what I found is that often there's a comparison made between different ethnic groups. So comparing the experiences of white women to Black women to Latino women to Asian women, etc. But there's not very many studies that primarily look at individual populations. And I'm very much interested in studying how relationship violence impact Black women as an individual ethnic group. So one of my research questions points to, again, how do Black college women experience relationship violence? Again, what we do know is that 1 in 5 college women will experience sexual assault, but among the 1 in 5, how many of them are Black women? And is it only sexual assault that they're experiencing, or is there other types of violence that might be a part of their college experience, right? Another question that I hope to answer in my dissertation research is, how do Black college women make meaning of their relationship violence experiences? So based on the messages that they received either prior to college, during college, about what relationship violence is, how are they making meaning of that? How are they making sense of their role as Black women, their role as college women within, that relationship violence space? So how are they making sense of that? And again, I'm also interested in looking at the college environment in itself. What aspect of the college environment is impacting the way in which these Black women make sense of their experiences. So my third question really points to, again, how are they navigating the resources around relationship violence? So within, on many college campuses, I should say, there are a variety of different resources, there are a variety of different services that are specific for helping students not only understand what has happened to them as survivors of relationship violence, but also what their options might be. So my office, I talked a little bit about kind of what we do. Again, we provide a lot of programs for students in terms of that education and awareness piece, right? We also provide space for students to be. Students who come into to the Margaret Sloss Women's Center. It's a safe space on campus. Our staff is well equipped to engage students in conversations on a variety of different topics. But you have offices like the Students Assistance Center or the Counseling Center or the Police Department that provide different types of options for students who might be experiencing various forms of relationship violence. So my question again gets to trying to understand these Black women, where they are in their college experience, how are they understanding, the college environment, and how are they making sense of that within dealing with their own issues of relationship violence, right? I am a qualitative researcher, even though I do have an affinity for quantitative work. But my study, again, because I'm interested in really telling the story of these Black college women, I'm doing a qualitative feminist narrative, right? So while I know that women are not a monolithic group, Black women are also not a monolithic group. So I'm really interested in telling the individual stories of, how these Black women who've experienced relationship violence within the college environment continue to thrive, right? I'm using Black feminist theory. Hopefully you're familiar with that. Social learning theory and ecological theory. So just a little bit about Black feminist theory. It kind of, it explores or gets you to understand, how race and gender within the context of relationship violence is allowing these women to individually share their stories. So again, how does race, gender kind of intersect in terms of their lives as college women, their lives as now survivors of relationship violence, et cetera. So it's allowed for an understanding of that. Social learning theory points to really the learned experiences behind the relationship violence as a whole. So what messages did they receive from their peer group, from their friends, from their background about understanding what relationship violence is? Did they encounter relationship violence experiences, domestic violence experiences, etc., prior to coming to college, and how does that continue to inform how they deal with their own individual experiences? So social learning theory gets to kind of focus on how individuals kind of behave through the experiences of relationship violence, right? And ecological theory, as it sounds, is very much about the environment. So the college environment is very unique in the sense that, some researchers refer to it as a microcosm of the larger society. So I'm very much interested in exploring those different elements within the college environment as it relates to relationship violence, and again, how these women have chosen to kind of navigate the college environment as they're dealing with their relationship violence encounter, either prior to college or while they're in college. As I mentioned before, in terms of looking at the scope of relationship violence within the college environment, I mentioned that right now there's a huge emphasis on sexual assault and rape. And I indicated, again, the statistics of 1 in 5 and 1 in 16, that many researchers, many practitioners and administrators are continuing to grapple with in terms of how do they minimize those student encounters. One of the challenges that researchers have found in terms of allowing college and universities to address issues of relationship violence is that 90% of the sexual assault and rape cases that are occurring on college campuses are not reported. So what we know is that, yes, it's happening, but how can we individually address student needs if these issues are not reported? What's interesting is that among the college women who are reporting these violent encounters, we know that 9 out of 10 of them know their attacker. They know the perpetrator. They know the person who have violated their space. So knowing that, right? So it's no longer the boogeyman. It's no longer the person hiding in the bushes, but it might be another student, right, sitting across from you in a class. It might be somebody living in your dorm. So those are all things that are very, very troubling right now, and why the federal government is very much interested in not only what is happening on college campuses, but how colleges and universities are responding to these very alarming statistics, right? So again, universities are looking to beef up and revamp their policies. Colleges and universities are looking to really streamline some of the programs and services that are being offered. Are they making an impact? Are they helpful? Are students aware? And also engaging students in taking more of an active role in setting the standards and holding their peers accountable. So while on campus this semester, you may see a variety of different programs happening within your respective organizations, or you may have different speakers come on campus, etc. So the universities are trying very, very different things. Most universities right now are also in the process of hiring Title IX coordinators to handle the amount of work that has now come down from the federal government in terms of managing some of these cases that are happening. And it's not just that the federal government is handling or holding universities accountable from arm's length. What we are seeing right now is that the federal government are actually investigating these cases. They are actually coming onto universities' campuses, talking to students, talking to faculty, talking to staff about various cases or issues that may come up. Last spring, Iowa State had some visitors from the Justice Department that was here on our campus investigating a case. So again, Iowa State is among, tons of universities, I should say, a number of universities that are being investigated for a variety of different things, whether it's compliance, whether it's policy related, whether it's students feeling that their case was not handled, correctly, etc. So, a lot of the autonomy in terms of universities taking charge of, responding to these cases, the federal government has said, you know what? We're going to step in and we're going to do our own investigation to see where there might be a breakdown in, either communicating policy or adjudicating cases that come through the system. Again, I can sit here and talk so much more about the scope of relationship violence in college, but I don't want to go over my time. However, I hope to see some of you in the Margaret Sloss Women's Center sometime this semester, either this summer or the fall. Participate in our programs or attend some of our programs. Come visit the house, take a tour, etc. Again, my name is Lorraine Acker. The Sloss House is located in between Curtis Hall and Gerdine. And so feel free to come by again and visit with us. Thank you, Dr. Jordan, and I look forward to seeing some of you.